Hey everybody, welcome to Bestie Book Reviews. I'm here with my bestie Mandy.
And I'm here with my bestie Jessica.
Yeah, it is everyone's favorite video. This is our Convincing My Bestie video. This is where one of us convinces the other to read a book from a trope that they don't normally pick for themselves. And now it's Mandy's turn to be convinced by me.
I would just like you to note how kind I have been to you of late.
I know, but here's the deal. The people have spoken and they've been begging, and you have even told me they've been begging.
Just because I said they've been begging doesn't mean I think that we need to act on it.
Oh, I'm sure you do.
Really?
So luckily for you,
Oh, okay.
we're doing Omegaverse.
Oh!
Sorry. They've been asking for it. So I finally got enough. We're going to do it.
Luckily
Sorry.
for me, you tricked me into thinking it was.
Yeah, I know.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
It's
But,
okay.
maybe you'll enjoy them. You never know. So I've got 6 Omegaverse Recs. Let's talk about them. Let's. Okay, so the first one that I have for you is one that I read just a couple weeks ago, and this is an angsty thing. So this is Bitter Truths by Livy Weston. Sorry, my pen kind of bled a little bit, so I couldn't tell if it was an A or an E. Livy Weston. So this is about Bianca. She is an Omega, but she's kind of a suppressed Omega. Like she hasn't developed her senses and whatever like Omegas are supposed to at this point. But she knows that her brother's best friends are her scent matches. Like she can smell it. Yeah, I know. She smells them. She knows this. She's known it since she was a little girl. And so now she's at her graduation. She has like a little kissing thing with them one day, and she just knows that these are her guys. She hasn't told them yet, but she's aware of it. They go to a party the night of her graduation, and her best friend ends up betraying her with the guys. And it leads her to this utter devastation, this horrible situation where she's like trying to claw out her scent glands, and she's basically just dying. Her mom takes her away, and that is when she finds out they're in a cabin in the woods. And she ends up deciding that she's going to stay in this small town, and this is where she meets a group of people who have a place out in the wilderness for Omegas, where they can feel safe and hone their skills. And so several years go by with no contact from these people. And she gets a call that her brother has been in a horrible car accident and is in a coma, and she has to go home. Meanwhile, her scent matches have basically, I don't think they actually married her because that's not how they do it, but they have bonded with her ex-best friend. So she has to go home to where they all have a life together. And she is not prepared. And it's very angsty, and it does have some dark elements. Okay, there is audio for that one. Okay, the next book that I have is not this one yet. I don't want to do those ones yet. Okay, Unexpected Delivery by Jillian West. I think you might like this one because there is a snowed in aspect to this one. So this is the second book in the A Very Pregnant Omega Finds Her Pack. You don't have to have read the first one to enjoy this one. There is audio for this one as well. So this is about Arbor. Arbor is hiding from her baby daddy. He is not a very good guy at all. And so she's hiding out in a cabin in Maine. She's had some family connections, like her friend's aunt is who she's renting the cabin from. She has a crappy little car, and she doesn't know how she's going to make it, but she has to get away from this guy who was very abusive towards her. And so one day she's in town, her car breaks down, and that is where, outside of the store, and that is where she meets one of our heroes, and he is actually a mechanic. He owns a mechanic shop in town, and so he helps her out, and she then meets the other 2 guys at that point as well. Or over the next day or so, she meets the other 2 guys, all fine and dandy, just friendly. She's very pregnant. She's like 8 months along here. It's not a good thing. And then a few days later, there's a horrible snowstorm, and she goes into labor, and so she has to drive herself to the hospital. Along the way, the car skids off the side of the road and she is stuck there. And then that is where these three guys come along and they find her in labor and they decide they can't get her to the hospital because of the road situation. So they take her back to their cabin where one of the guys has some experience in the medical field. And so he ends up delivering the baby. When they go to the hospital, one of the other guys, because he realizes she doesn't have insurance, puts his name down on the birth certificate. And so now in order to make sure that her bills get paid and stuff, she's going to have to come home and stay with them for a while. And it's like a whole thing. So there's book number 2.
Okay.
Okay. So then book number 3. So this one is a duet that just read the first one. You don't have to keep going on if you don't want to. This is called His Darkest Deceit by Addison Kane. Now you can get this book, the book itself off of Amazon, but there is audio on Addison Kane's website, and that is where I got the audio. You can get it as a bind up. The audio of both books on the audio. So this is very dark, but this is an Omegaverse. And this is about Lorianne. She is a hybrid human. And so she has like some of those Omegaverse traits. And she lives at this alien type school. They're human. They're human. They just have these hybrid like Omegaverse traits in them that makes them inhuman. But she lives at this thing. She's been there for many, many years. Her general runs it with an iron fist. He's a very cruel man. And she's never liked him, but she's not allowed to even look at boys in this school. Like it is very, very, very strict. And she wants to graduate and go out into like be on like their special forces team that fights this fog that is out there. But the general says that she can't. And then
Why?
she kind of, because he's her fated mate. So this is big age gap. And there's some interesting things that happen in this one. But he waits until like right around her graduation time before he does anything because he just has known since she was young that she was his fated mate, but she was a child and he refused to touch her at that point. So he's had her around for a while.
Okay.
And he's always been very mean to her. And we just don't know, like she just thought he ruled her with an iron fist, but he's her fated mate.
Interesting.
Very much so. Addison Kane has more of a darker feel to her writings, though. So that's where we're going. So those should be 3, right?
Yes.
Okay. So far, all of them have audio. This next one is one that I really enjoyed, and we just met this author, and that is Rodeo and Juliet by Sinclair Kelly. Again, there is audio for this one as well. So this is about Juliet, who's also known as JJ Wilde. She is a rodeo star in her own right. And she has a wild one-night stand that leads to a baby. She never sees the guy. She doesn't see the guy again until 4 years later when she's living. So she has this alter ego. Nobody really knows that she's JJ Wilde. She, when she's in her hometown, she doesn't advertise that. So 4 years later, these 3 men come to Jules's hometown. And one is her ex best friend, and one is a beta who is absolutely in love with JJ Wilde. So when he realizes it's her, he's very starstruck. And then she meets the 3rd guy in the pack, and it's her baby daddy that she hasn't seen since the one night stand. So this is Cowboy Omegaverse with one badass heroine, and the little girl in this one makes the book. She is amazing. And you know how picky I am about kids and books.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So then the next one that I have here is Puck Around and Find Out by Sarah Blue. Now, this is the 3rd book in the series, but they can all be read as standalones. So this one is about Sloan. And Sloan so this is ice hockey. So Sloan works for the ice hockey team as the PR person, but she is also the coach's daughter. And all the boys have been told that she is abso-freaking-lutely off limits. Do not go anywhere near the coach's daughter. But here's the deal. She knows who she's wanted in her pack for years. And it is one of her dad's players for sure. But, he's also got a pack. So, like, it's all the players. So this is coach's daughter. Don't mess with her. There's audio for this one, too. And then my last book. Okay. This is one of my favorites. So this is again, has audio. So all these books have audio. Omega, founded by Mae Pierce. So this one is Omegaverse, but it is Western historical Omegaverse. So this is about Esta. She has traveled to meet her future husband. They call it the Badlands. The world's a little bit different, but basically it's like going back to the Wild West as a mail order bride. And so she's going back there, and she is going to marry Hale. Now Hale lives on a farm with his brother, and with a farmhand, and then with their little brother. And so their mom has died, and they need somebody to get the little brother in line. Like, he just needs a feminine hand around. And so he sends for her. She comes to marry him. Now she's disguising her scent because she's an Omega. She's disguising her scent by having these herbs, but she is drinking these herbs in a tea. And she's been trying to get away from a really horrible person back east where her father lives. And so when she gets there, she smells like a beta, even though she's an Omega. And he takes her to get married right away. And she wants to tell him that she's an Omega, but she comes to find out that he hates Omegas with a passion. And so in order to stay safe, she has to continue to hide what she is. This is like one of the most angsty Omega verses ever. And she puts this man through his paces, because the grovel is like half the book, and I loved it. So there you go. There's 6 Omega verses. Which one are you gonna read?
I'm surprised that Grace McGinty didn't make this list.
Well, you've read her recent 2 Omega verses.
I know.
And I mean, I've thrown out Tristan the Dark and Mannix a ton of times, but there's this little part of me that's like, if you don't love them, I don't know that I can handle you not loving them. So leave my babies alone. Okay.
No, I told myself, I'm like, if there's a Grace McGinty, you really shouldn't pick it, Mandy, because you've read her and you like her. You need to try something different.
Mm-hmm.
So this is shocking, but all of these would be something different.
It would be, yes, I know.
Well, I was really leaning towards Rodeo and Juliet.
Mm-hmm.
Because that feels like a little, I don't know, it just sounded really good, and it feels a little less like out
weird
there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But then you said Omega Founded, and you said it was like historical, and we said we'd read more historicals. So when I am curious, is it in third person like most historicals are?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Hold on, let me see. Wait, let me triple check here, because it's been a while.
I was just curious, like.
Nope, first person.
Okay. But I think I want to stick to more like traditional
Actual
type
historicals.
Yeah. So I'm going to go with Rodeo and Juliet.
Okay. All right. I think out of all of them, you'll like that one. It's not as weird, and it's fun. And the little girl really does make the book. So, okay. All right. Okay. Well, we will be back with your reaction.
Sounds great.
All right, Mandy, we're back. Obviously, I'm not at home, and just in case anybody's wondering, the internet's been wonky here. So hopefully this is somewhat clear for everybody. If not, we're really sorry. But how did you like Rodeo and Juliet?
Well, Jessica, something has gone awry.
You loved it, didn't you?
I did!
First the aliens, now the Omegaverse!
I don't know what has happened to me.
You've evolved.
I think so. And I'm gonna have some interesting things to say on our next 1 minute book recs about some books that I've read. Okay. And people are going to be like, oh, that is yeah.
Quite the thing. Mm-hmm.
Things have changed for me. I don't know what's wrong with me anymore.
I love it.
I really enjoyed it a lot.
Okay.
I listened to it. Mm-hmm. And I actually went and left an Audible review because I was like, the narrators were really good. The female narrator, I don't have my
your notes for that
in front of me, unfortunately, but the female narrator, actually, I feel like I should credit her, and you look really good right now, so give me just like half a second.
Well, thank you.
So the female narrator, Bridget Bordeaux, does a phenomenal job, like as the main character as Juliet, but also as Juliet's daughter. She was really good. I was impressed.
Yeah.
And then Jake Bordeaux, which I'm assuming they're a married couple, maybe they're brother and sister, but that would be
maybe,
really
but that would be weird. Not those kind of books.
Yeah. So Jake Bordeaux, I actually left this Amazon review and I went to see who the narrators were. He narrates all the guys.
Yeah, he did a good job, didn't he?
Yes, I didn't get confused. I mean, it is helpful because when the new chapter starts, it says who it is, but I felt like the author did a good job of writing the characters different enough, and the narrator did a good job of portraying them differently enough that I didn't get confused about who was talking or what was happening.
Yeah. Well, I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I rated it 4 stars, and I was actually thinking, I want to read the next book in this series.
Me too. I have the next book. I was kind of waiting for audio, but I think they're just now doing the audio, if I remember right, what she said to us.
And I was like, when are we going to see Kelly Sinclair again? Because and we've met her, but it was more kind of like your author that we were meeting, and now I'm kind of like,
She's typically at the Wild and Windy events. So, yeah. Okay. I'm so proud.
I know. Wild,
everybody out there is gasping and clutching their pearls. Mandy loves this. Enjoyed this one. This and Aliens. We've turned a corner, guys. We have turned a corner with Mandy.
We have turned a corner.
Yep. We love it. All right. Well, let's wrap this up while the internet is still working and we can do it. All right.
Well, thanks for broadening my horizons. Although you've been chipping away at them for a while with the Grace McGinty Rex, but
I have. Yeah, we can thank Gracie for that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think why I can get into Omegaverse is more so than like a normal why choose is because there's like this biological part of like
it makes sense.
She's in heat. They need the pack. Everybody serves a purpose, and it's not just
a free-for-all.
Yeah. So I think, and normally I don't really like fantasy and stuff, but I think for whatever reason you've worn me down that I can disassociate to some degree. So Grace McGinty has a part in that too, because her writing has kind of broken through that barrier for me to lead the way for other Omegaverse, maybe.
Thank you, Gracie.
Yes.
All right.
All right. Well, make sure you check back on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. And I don't even know why I say usually Wednesdays anymore, because we've been on a really good streak and I don't foresee that changing.
But we're still not committing to them. So
we're not committing to Wednesdays. We are non-committal.
No.
But probably Wednesdays.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.